Thank you, everyone. Who would have thought I've contributed to so many visits? This moment is so much bigger than... Okay, that's enough. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're gonna see how many visits in total I have gathered and contributed to. Now, this is sort of a weird topic, dare I say, because contributed visits might be the biggest scam in Twitter bio history, man. It gets very crazy when you think of what is an actual contribution. Maybe you sent them a particle effect. Maybe you built one mesh. That means you get to count their visits, and you're contributed, which I don't know if I agree or disagree with, but let's rack them up. Now, guys, I am 100,000% positive that I will forget some of the games I've worked on, some of the games I've been commissioned for, some of the games I have made. I guarantee I won't get them all, but I'll get most of them, and I have taken quite a few minutes. Maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, guys. I've rounded them all up, and it's time to check it out. We're gonna start with games that I own or previously owned. Kicking things off, we have a Zombie Research Tycoon. This is something I made with Robo, and it was actually a pretty sick Tycoon, but we had some pretty game-breaking bugs, and I don't think we ever fixed them. So, yeah, this one, to kick everything off, 557,000 visits. I got a little handy notepad to the side. I'm gonna keep track, and at the end, we're gonna add them all up. The next game we have is Pet Tycoon. This is when all of those, like, egg merger upgrader tycoons was popping off, and I wanted to hop on the trend. It looks like I didn't do it that well. I thought this game was pretty good, actually. I don't know why it has such low visits. Look at this, man. This game was sick. Look how satisfying it is. All the auto collects, they tween up and disappear. Like, I really do think this was one of my better looking games. Not really build-wise. The build wasn't bad by any means. But script-wise, man, they just looked good. Look at all these particles and stuff happening, all these bounces and tweens. This was definitely a pretty sick project. But not all of them do the best, so 86,000 visits added to our total. Up next, we have Yard Work Simulator. This was my first big hurrah. The game that got me the most notable amount of attention, and we remade this thing so many times, all under the same place, just perfecting it. And by we, at the time, I was not a builder. I was simply the project manager, but nonetheless, my game, 7.8 million visits. That is a massive jump. Up next, guys, we have Penguin Simulator. This game was, this was one of my first hurrahs into building, and I don't think it works anymore. The idea was pretty simple, but pretty cool at the time, and the build was, we'll say, a little less than great. Oh my gosh, the public version has internal development version on the top. That's fantastic, and yes, it is broken. You're supposed to roll around as this ball. You eat fish to get bigger, and then look at all this custom art. None of the UI works, but it was all custom, and I was really proud that I was actually able to hire people to do certain things in this, hence making the custom draw and art. Over here, you could go bowling as yourself. Like, you would adjust it, and you could add spin to the ball and everything. But if we go into the free cam and check out this build, well, it's not exactly anything special. But nonetheless, 458,000 visits to add to our collection. The next game on the list was another huge hurrah. This one had a lot of potential. The build on it at the time I thought was sick. Now when I look back, it wasn't that great. But 8.5 million visits. At the time we made this game, there was a very popular game called Shark Evolution Simulator, which was a copy of a phone game. But someone ported it over to Roblox, and then I thought, hey, let's do that, but with pets. Because you already know, Roblox is copy what's doing good and hope to do good, whether we love it or we hate it. Anyways, Pet Evolution Sim with 8.5 million visits. Up next, guys, +1 air every second, okay? We made this game in 24 hours for a YouTube video, and I'm happy it didn't do good. The game was trash. Nothing about it was balanced or felt good. It was a challenge video that we decided to put as a public game, and I'm happy it flopped, man. It was... Yeah, it is what it is, man. 13.6 thousand visits. Vortex Simulator, this game is the start of this YouTube channel, pretty much. I remember building this map, and it was honestly some of the most fun I've ever had on this channel. We streamed every single day for like 2 weeks straight, just building this map, and it was one of the maps that I'm still, to this day, most proud of. The lighting, everything, the gradients, the everything, man. This game, I thought it would do better. But in comparison to some of the other magnet type games out here on Roblox, it's definitely not in the top 10%. However, 1.5 million visits to add on to our collection. Up next, Slingshot Simulator. This might be one of my most satisfying games to date, but only a tiny percent of the gameplay was satisfying, and that ultimately led to the demise. And the programmer for this one went off to college. They didn't want to do Roblox games anymore, so, you know, that kind of happened as well. Anyways, 427,000 visits. UFO Universe. To this day, this is my favorite game I've ever released. It had the most potential out of any of my games. We had 3,000 something concurrent players at the time of launch in this game, and everything was going great. And then the programmer on the project just said, hey, bye. They just left off the face of the internet. It never responded to me, never did anything, and yeah, now it's just bug infested and you can't really do much. But definitely my favorite project I've ever worked on, and 1.7 million visits, well, that's not too bad. Up next, we have Pet Race Clicker. This is when race clicking games were a trend, and then we were like, hey, let's throw pets on it, and boom, we'll have a race clicker game, and it did pretty decent. 6.3 million visits. Next up, we have my most recent project, Ego Simulator, which is currently at 11.6 thousand visits. Okay, this is deserved. I made the game originally completely by myself, and I am not a programmer, so it wasn't the most satisfying, and the build itself, well, that wasn't that good either. However, I am fully revamping this game as we speak, and when it does come out, with a professional programmer and everything like that, it's gonna be so much better. But nonetheless, 11.6 thousand visits. The first ever version of Selfie Simulator, this absolute awful send of a game, 2 million visits. I don't know how. I must have been popping back in the day, and just people wanted to play my game, bro. It was horrible. The build, the scripts, the everything, it was just bad, but 2 million visits. Now, the second attempt at making Selfie Simulator, which turned out so much better. Still not great in comparison to today's, needs for a Roblox game, but double the visits, 4.2 million. I will be making this game one more time just to see how much I've improved. Now, guys, I must interrupt this broadcast for a special announcement, and that is hit that like and subscribe button, guys. It does help me know what kind of content you want to see more of, and bro, it's the like button. It turns blue. Everyone has a better day with a blue like button. Now, guys, here's where it gets into contributed visits, okay? This game, Mine Race Simulator, I think I made over 50% of the maps for it. So I can definitely agree that I have contributed a fair bit to this game and its success. And that is 4.8 million visits. The next game we have is Russo's game, Tapper Simulator. I built the maps for this game, and it has 9.2 million visits. I just wish I was better when Russo hired me, because I was like, okay, but not great. And it probably ruined my chances of working with him again in the future, because it just isn't up to par with what I can do now. However, I did build most of the maps, so I will take those contributed visits. Now, guys, last but not least, this is where ethics and morals come in to the whole contributed visits, okay? Obviously, this game is not mine. Obviously, it has 84.6 million visits. Now, what counts as a contribution? Let me explain. A few weeks ago, I made a video on this YouTube channel where I made myself into a pet a free row builder pet. And I said any game in the world can use this pet for absolutely free. The only request is call it a row builder pet. And if we jump into bid battles and go into my store, well, would you look at this? The row builder pet. They used it in the game. And I mean, technically, that means I contributed. It's not enough for me to count this as a contribution because it's a free pet I made for everybody. It's not something I made specifically for this game. However, I did make their update that is coming out in probably 2 weeks. So I can count this game as contributed visits, guys. That is gonna be a massive, massive jump. And lastly, I want to add this. This is the dream game. If you're unfamiliar, I'm putting the cash grab simulator life behind me and working on a genuine passion project where I combine my two passions, stunt riding on motorcycles and Roblox game development. Boom, slap them together and make hopefully an incredible game for you guys to play. And the goal is that whatever my game's visits are, okay, I'm gonna add up all of my visits separate to the contributed visits. And the goal is that this game alone will pass all of them combined. However, let me get into the calculations. After some quick calculations, thanks to the calculator app, we have 33.55 million visits. And that's our games alone, not including anything that we've contributed to. So the goal for the dream game is gonna be passing 33 million visits, which is, wow. Putting it into perspective, it's a lot more than I thought it was gonna be, but I got high hopes and I think we could do it. Now let's go ahead and add on the visits that we have actually contributed to. If you can't tell, contributed visits to me are sort of a scam. I don't know, man. I don't know where the level of what you have to contribute is. However, let's add the smallest ones first. Plus 4.8 million. Instantly, boom. Up next, Russo's game with 9.2 million. And then last but not least, the one I feel like I shouldn't be able to add because at the moment it's only a pet that I made, but there will be an update that I made. So I'm gonna add it anyways. And this game alone literally is double all of our games put together. Plus 84.4 million. Yeah, there we go, guys. So my contributed visits at this point in time, assuming I'm forgetting games that I've made in the past or commissioned, how deep does contributed go? What if everyone who's bought an asset from my website and used it in their game counts as me contributing a visit? Oh my gosh, the rabbit hole, man. But here's my number for my Twitter bio, guys. 131 million plus visits contributed. I think that's slightly a W. However, like, it's not even close to realistic because one game is double all of ours. Anyways, that was pretty fun to figure out, and it's nice to know that number. You guys already know what's next. It is question time. We have 3 questions from some previous videos, and I have an answer for all of them. Buster, the Christmas tree is not a scratching post. It's just not. Are you good? Buster keeps using the tree as a scratching post, and he almost knocks it over every day. Anyways, question number 1. If you were not a builder, what role would you take? Because I want to start my developing career on one role, but I still don't understand what is the best to do. There's a lot of layers to this answer. I'm going to put it quite simply. You need to pick which one you actually like doing. If you don't really like doing any of them, you probably just should choose something else. But if we're looking at this in a complete unbiased standpoint, say you like all of them, I would choose scripting. There's some pros and cons to scripting. Number 1 con being you can't really show your work unless it's alongside something else like a particle or a build or just UI, something else paired up with your scripting to show your work. That's the con. But the pro is, dude, there's assets everywhere. I have a website. You could get assets for $1. There's free assets in the toolbox. There's free maps on plenty of websites. And you could just add your scripts to them and you'd have a fully functioning game. If you're a builder, you can't really go find enough free scripts and know how to put all of them together to make a game. So if I was restarting and had no bias, I would choose scripting. Question number 2, are you gonna add some sort of a bike meetup system in the dream game? For example, there will be an option to host a bike meet. Once you host a bike meet, it'll notify everyone in the server where they can join. I can't really answer that too in depth, I do plan on having some sort of clan or club system. Dare I say motorcycle gang? But we're not going to name them gangs because I'm trying to keep everything all PG and friendly within it. But I do plan on having some sort of group or party system within the game. Probably not a server-wide notification, but definitely to your other group members. Our last question, will you make a new Discord server for the Dream game once it releases? Or will you just use your YouTube Discord server? Guys, the Discord for the Dream game is already made, and it has been made for literal months. I just have not advertised it because I have no staff in there yet, and no game. So it'll definitely have its own server. I plan on the Dream game becoming bigger than this YouTube channel, if that makes sense. People who have no idea who I am will hopefully find the Dream game. It's just a body of work that I've put so much time, effort, money into, like everything, and it's my first passion project. So we're either gonna see my dreams absolutely shattered and crushed, and I'll go back to making cash grab simulators, or we're gonna see what hard work and dedication, how it pays off on Roblox, okay? One or the other is gonna happen. I don't know which one, but you guys will have to stay tuned to figure out.